thought I would have my son help me because I want to show you some things on the screen before Monday hits about what's going to go on with the markets and XRP. So to help explain everything, maybe in a nutshell, so that you can either make a decision about learning this, make a decision about investing in this, make a decision about why, and really take it to the Lord. Can they see me, honey? And they can see the board? All right. Now, I want to start with the why. And they can hear too. Guys, I can't see the screen. My son is recording, so if you can't hear, he'll see it and he can let me know. Thumbs up that they can hear? Thumbs up, everybody? Everybody can hear? Okay. Right now, this right here is our way that we move money on this side. This is our banking system, and this is how we operate. So for every $10 that we've deposited into our bank account, $9 is loaned out. All right. This right here is a business, and the banks are in business to make money. The banks are not in business to hold your money. They're in business to make money. All right. That should be a standard principle that everyone either knows or you should know. Our system as it stands right now is a system of debt. Our entire system with the US dollar is a system of debt. Without debt, without credit, none of this works. The problem with this system, all right, is the fact that with this system, they get to just print. They just hit a print button. They just do this, and money just populates. If they end up getting in trouble or they've loaned out too much money, they cry to the federal government, which is the Federal Reserve, which I don't even know why we have that department. The government doesn't own it. It's like a private institution. Don't even get me started. All they have to do is just print, which causes everything to go up, which is what we saw in 2020. Okay, guys, this is like such a long thing. I'm trying to put down in maybe like 2 minutes. This is why houses are so inflated. This is why your food is so inflated. This is why we can barely afford to do anything, because our dollar has been printed and copied so many times that it's almost worthless. All right. But this is the system that your 401ks are on, that your retirement funds are on, that your savings account, everything gets put into this area. We still good, Eli? That's okay. Everyone's still good? They can see? Okay. Now, digital assets come in. And this is what the bank has been so afraid of, is this right here. This is why for 3 or 4 years that XRP and alike haven't done very well. Because we had massive regulations from the banking institutions crybabying to the SEC, all the government institutions, because if anything threatens this, the US dollar, and how the banks are making money off of your retirements and your 401k, they kill it immediately. So they tried to kill the cryptocurrencies and these institutions, but when the Lord was telling me, learn it, teach this stuff to the people because this is where it's going, this is why. Because this is coming whether we like it or not. And because it's coming whether we like it or not, the banks, governments, prime ministers, kings, and all of that have decided, well, we can't get rid of it. We might as well control it and own it. Here's the kicker. Before they can control and own it, and before this is the way we move money, before that happens, there is an opportunity of a lifetime that the Lord is giving his church for everybody to get in that has an ear to hear and has eyes to see before assets like this become currency for the governments. Now, XRP has been a buzzword for the past, 2 weeks. It's been in my master class and I've been talking about it, and assets like it way longer. Probably, well, for me, 6 years, but this past year I made an entire course that had this and a few other assets in a portfolio, and I kept telling people, acquire it, get it as much as you can, this and a few others. This isn't the only one. There's going to be assets that are going to be staples in the way that our whole monetary system, in the way that we move it, the way that we buy and sell, the way that we store it, all the ways. Right now, XRP, and why this is growing and this is where everything's going, like the global leaders, is because you can't print any more of these. Unlike the US dollar, that they can just hit a printing button and print your money to oblivion, you cannot reprint any of these digital assets. There is a certain amount of XRP and that's it. That's all that there is. There's a certain amount of Bitcoin, that's it, and there's all that there is. These things are not duplicatable. Right now, 52 billion XRP is locked up in escrow, which means it's not in circulation. And the more people continue to buy this, the less and less supply of XRP that we have, which is why the price keeps going up. At some point, guys, you won't be able to get this. It will be unavailable. And if it is available, it's so high that most people can't acquire it. Like I said, this is only one of maybe a handful of assets that will stick out once regulation hits. Some of you are in cryptocurrencies, but you're buying all kind of crazy things because right now, when Bitcoin rises, when the tide rises, all ships rise. But the problem with that is that when these things go through regulation and you're not in the right assets and your portfolios aren't managed the way that they should be, you're completely out. 90% of these things are going to disappear because they're not going to pass regulation. The ones that solve a problem, the ones that solve a banking problem, the ones that move, the Baltic Index around the world, which is our goods, our importing and our exporting, they're going to make it. All right. And we build portfolios on those principles in the masterclass. This right here is lightning fast and it's fractions of a dollar to transact with versus the banking system, Western Union, the SWIFT system. If you wanted to send money from where I live, Georgia, United States, and you want to send it over to Saudi Arabia, you want to go send it to Israel, we have to convert it. Yes. There is a conversion that takes place and that has many hands in it. And so therefore the conversions are very expensive and it takes 2 or 3 days to get it over there. How about a check? When we write a check, it takes a few days for banks to clear your money. It's your money, but they won't release it to you, right? Until there's like a 24-hour, sometimes 5-day hold, depending on how big the checks are. And they don't really like cashing checks, the bank, if it's larger than a certain amount of money. Why is that? Guys, because they don't have it. The banks lend out $9 out of 10 that you deposit. They don't have it. So you have to wait, or something, it's not, a little bit is released today and 4 days later it'll be released another day. With these digital assets, you are your bank. All right. There is no middleman. You hold on to it. You transact with it. You can send it peer to peer and it's lightning fast. Saudi Arabia has actually picked up XRP as a way to exchange for their oil. So now we're able to use XRP for commodities. This is a big deal. But it goes further than just you buying this and just holding on to it. No. You have to know how this works. You have to know how to make it make money. You have to know what to do with it. I put all that in my masterclass. Do you know that we're going away from credit scores to no credit scores? With using the digital platform and XRP, we're going into DeFi situations, which means you get to loan money off of the amount of assets and wealth that you have in these assets versus what you're paying back to the bank. How does that work, Lauren? Well, it would work like this. If they're already doing it, you can do it on platforms like Nexo. Unfortunately, because of the SEC, a lot of these exchanges that are operational and have been for the past 6 or 7 years over in Europe and doing fantastic had to pull out from the United States like Nexo because of the SEC. They were trying to keep money in the bank so that they can stay very, very wealthy and you could stay very, very poor. But it would look something like this. DeFi is borrowing off of the assets that you have in your wallet or the exchange who's ever lending money. If the asset begins to start going down and you've borrowed money, then they just take from your stash to pay back the money if you haven't paid back the money before you, yes. Loon. We'll answer questions in just a minute. All right. And so if you haven't paid back the loan and the assets begins to lose value, well, the companies that you use to borrow money from your cryptocurrency, they just take your XRP or they just take your Bitcoin. All right. This is where this is headed. This is where we want it to head for a season. Will this be a part of the B system? Yes. The very avenue that the Lord is using to create wealth for his church, for his people, for his kingdom, to build systems, is the very system that will evolve into a one world issue. All right? A lot of people get scared with digital currencies because they think that, why do I want to get into something evil in the beast system? The problem with that is that you already are. Money is a very corrupt, evil system. Your money can be used to sex, just like your money can be used to buy a home for your family. This right here, where did I put it? I can use to write on my board, or I can use to stab you in the eye with it. Right? We have to be wise as serpents and gentle as doves. And if the whole world is going this way, and it is, and money is funneling into this new market, which it is, and you're sitting there struggling to pay your rent, you're struggling to pay food, you're struggling to even get Christmas, and all of this money is being made on the digital asset side, and you're choosing not to touch it because it's evil. Well, you're a hypocrite because your money is evil. Your greenbacks are evil. The greenbacks are starting the wars across seas. So the Lord is trying to teach his kingdom, his church, understand when times and seasons are changing, learn it, cash flow from it, and go and build my church. What the enemy has planned for evil, the Lord has planned something good within it. You have to have wisdom to know when to jump, not to be afraid, and stop operating on fear. I've had a lot of comments too about, I can't afford to invest, or I can't afford to get the masterclass, or I can't afford. As long as you stay in that mentality, you will always stay poor. The Lord says in the word that we will always have the poor with us. You will always have poverty. Why? Because poverty is a choice. Now, it may be more impossible and need more supernatural help in other third world countries like India, where they still have the caste system, in Africa, where there's just no economic commerce. But over here in America, there's absolutely no reason why any of you are poor. No reason. You have all of the teachings. You have all of the information. You have to go and search it. Move it this way. My son's directing me. I started off this digital asset thing and teaching this, along with teaching the word, teaching about the return of the Lord, guys, when we had like zero money. Zero. I remember this time 10 years ago when we were the family that was sponsored for Christmas. Sean's military brigade sponsored me and his sponsored our family and gave our kids Christmas gifts because, well, my husband was in a bad addiction. He was in, 10 years ago, a recovery program, and they knew we had no money. I didn't let those moments in my life dictate whether I could afford to do something or not. I sacrificed. I acquired knowledge. I read as much as I could. I invested in other people's knowledge, other people's books. And with that, I began to just acquire and grow in wisdom. It doesn't take much to invest in these things. The best thing about digital assets is it's not Wall Street. You don't need for instance, Bitcoin. You don't need $100,000 to buy one Bitcoin. It's fractional. If you only have $5, you can buy a Bitcoin, which is the beautifulness about cryptocurrencies. XRP, it went from 38 cents when I was teaching my masterclass. Now we're probably going to break through $3 and it's going to go on from there. I'm pretty sure it'll get above $1,000 eventually. But if you continue to sit and say, I can't afford it, you are never, ever, ever, ever going to get out of poverty. Never. You have to sacrifice, and you have to take the opportunities that people are giving you. I'll give you another example. I wrote a book. It's coming out December the 25th. And Larry and I, who I co-authored the book with, have become great friends. But let me tell you the gift that he gave me. Larry is a multimillionaire, and he's just a beautiful person, and he uses his money to fund the church. Instead of throwing money at my ministry or helping my ministry with finances, he gave me a hand up, and he gave me an opportunity to co-author a book with him. Why? Because we all have a piece of the puzzle. Where he has a piece to the puzzle, I have another piece to the puzzle. You're making them very, very, baby, don't do that. Thank you. When we came together, just give applause for Eli. He's doing a great job. When we came together, we became this big picture that's able to help so many people. I had Joseph revelation and how the kingdom billionaires are rising, and he had a piece to that puzzle. And because that opportunity came my way, money hasn't flowed into my lap. No, but what it has caused me to do is, what did I have to do? I had to labor. I had to write. I had to squeeze out what I know. I had to stay up late and write. I had to get up early and write. I had to watch the cursor blink on my page. We have to sacrifice, guys, if we want to get ahead. That's why I'm saying poverty is a choice. You can learn this. You have to focus. You have to be disciplined. You have to invest in yourself. You may have to burn the candle at both ends for a season. If you have $10 that you get at Starbucks for a coffee, you have $10 that you can put in XRP. Now imagine had you got the masterclass, or you took the advice of people that said, buy XRP, like maybe let's say back in February. And let's say you just did $50 a week. All right. Add $50 a week. Let's see, times, see, that's $200 a month times, you could be looking at like $1,000 probably by this time, like 6 months. And XRP went up 400%. You're looking at $7,000 just because you decided to invest in XRP when it was 38 cents for $50 a week. Guys, you can do this, but you got to know where to store it. You got to know where to put it. You got to know why. You got to know how the system is changing, and that's going to take in-depth view. So my masterclass is available, 6-hour teaching. You can have $75 off. I have to go because my dog wants outside. But this was just a really quick snapshot of why. I love you guys. You can do this. Is there a question? Okay, what's the question? I gotta let the dog out. What is it?
Bethany Suakaro said, I bought at
I'm listening.
46 and should have gotten more.
Oh, everything goes up, everything goes down. That's not the point. The point is just to keep buying and not try to get out every time you make a profit. Your job is just to be consistent, and I teach all of this in the masterclass. I teach strategy. You're not going to be able to make the kind of gains that someone like me that's been in this for 9 years all by yourself, just picking coins to invest in because this is the hot topic of the week. You need strategy. You need wisdom. Yes, it probably will go down. Yes, it will go up. Is it anybody's guess how high? I don't know. Markets never go up forever, but you have to know exactly what you're getting into. You have to know what you're buying, and you got to know how to move it. There's so much that you need to know. And so I would really encourage all of you to really spend the time to invest in some teaching, because you will miss it. You will miss the opportunity of a lifetime that the Lord is given his people a wealth transfer. And this is it. So, love you guys. Y'all have a great Sunday. See you later.